What happens if you raise a bunch of money on Kickstarter only to discover a few years later that you can't actually make the product or you can't actually fulfill to your backers? Today, we're going to take a look at the other side, one of the hidden dangers of doing a Kickstarter campaign. Hey, welcome to Launch and Scale. I'm Khierstyn, and on this channel, we help you with actionable strategies to launch new products on Shopify, Kickstarter, and scale to six figures. And if that is something you're into, be sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss another beat. So what happens when you raise money on Kickstarter? Are you legally obligated to fulfill products? This is a horror story I want to share with you where I was scrolling on TikTok one day and I came across this video from a disgruntled backer who didn't actually receive the product that was promised over 5 years ago. So we're going to take a look at that clip, and in this video we're going to walk through 3 best practices so that you can make sure if you are planning an upcoming Kickstarter campaign or a product launch that you don't make the same mistakes that so many hundreds of thousands of Kickstarter creators have made, not knowing what they were getting into. Let's watch that video.
Kickstarter does not care what creators do with your money. How do I know this? Because exactly 5 years ago today, February 15th, 2017, I backed the grid game. Now, what is the grid game? Rather, what was it supposed to be? Because it is nothing. It was a tile matching game. It looked really cool. That's it. But don't just take my word for it. Nearly 3,000 other people backed it too, to the tune of nearly $250,000. And what did the creators do with all of that money? Nothing. The last update was 13 months ago, and that's also the only update in the last 2 years. And since then, both the creator and his business partner have put their profiles on private. Now, what recourse do the backers have? Complain to Kickstarter and then watch as nothing happens. Kickstarter has done nothing, and that money is just gone. So I guess this is a cautionary tale. At the very least, you now know that nothing happens.
So shout out to Professor Neil for letting me use this TikTok in this video. Now, this is not a slander video. I first want to pre-frame before we get into some of the how to avoid this, my intention behind creating a video like this. The very first thing you need to know is that this happens all the time, but you'll get creators that have these awesome ideas and they have the best intentions going into a product launch and they just get in over their heads. They go to do a Kickstarter campaign, they spend a bunch of money on marketing, and guess what? They're successful. When it came time to production, that's when the wheels fell off the cart. That's when they realized what they were really getting into. So while I don't know exactly what happened with this campaign, I do know that what likely caused it is what has caused the inability of a ton of creators, like hundreds of thousands of projects, to either not deliver on time or not deliver at all. And that comes down to raising money too early when you're not far enough along in the manufacturing or design process. This is for, hey, first-time entrepreneurs that are working on a new innovation, new tech. The manufacturing process and taking something from your sketched up prototype at home to something that is mass market manufacturable is going to be more expensive than you realize and will have much more delays than you expect. So if you are someone who has backed a Kickstarter campaign in the past, or you're currently developing your product, you need to give yourself more of a timeline and more budget to actually raise more than you think you do to be able to bring that product to market in the time frame that you want. The other thing is that if you are getting a quote from a manufacturer and this is your first time working with the manufacturer and you don't have the molds and stuff figured out yet, or your formulation isn't finalized, if they're giving you a quote for 3 months to get product into your 3PL, actually double that timeline. There is more stuff that just happens with shipping, communication, etc. that is going to massively delay it. So double your timeline. I know you don't like hearing that, but I'd rather you be safe than sorry. This is super important because even if you're not actually planning a Kickstarter campaign, if you are doing a pre-launch campaign on your website, you've got to start taking orders when you know you're pretty much ready to manufacture. The reality is that nothing will kill early momentum of a new brand than not delivering on the very first promise, where if someone trusted you and gave you money to pre-order your product in advance, and if your timeline promised was 2 months but it actually takes 8 months to get the product, what does that say for your ability to like deliver a good product. And of course you've learned, but you've now broken the trust and made your go-to-market even harder, because one of the major things you want to do is start to surprise, delight, and build that trust right away with your customer. So definitely making sure that you have realistic timeframes on the manufacturing process, and make sure that you are as far along as possible. Make sure that you're not one of those campaigns that is just either unable to manufacture because you've run out of funds, or just be super delayed because, oops, beginner mistake. Number 2, ask yourself if raising your product on Kickstarter is actually a good idea. For more information about this, you should definitely check out my latest viral video on why I think you should stop using Kickstarter, or at least reconsider when to use it. So be sure to check that out for a more in-depth analysis. But really ask yourself if Kickstarter is the right go-to market strategy. So this really builds nicely onto number 1, with making sure that you've got a realistic time frame and expectations for manufacturing. But the other thing to note, the other side of this coin, is making sure that you have enough money to actually go to market. So point number 2 is to raise more money than you think you need. Now, I am all for bootstrapping. I'm all for keeping 100% ownership of your company. However, when you're getting into the inventory game, when you're getting into new product development, that is super expensive. So I would definitely look into raising funds privately through angel investor, VC, startup grants, friends and family, and that sort of thing, so that you have a cushion of cash so that when things go over budget, you are okay. And this cushion of cash may just be that you hold on to your 9-to-5 to help fund the new venture, and you moonlight for a year, 2 years. It's worth it, okay? The last thing you want to do is run out of money when you are so close to manufacturing and you can't pay for inventory. No one likes that. So raise more money than you think you need. Number 3, going back to that video, you can see that Neil specifically pointed out that there has been no updates from this campaign for 13 months and no communication for about 2 years. And with that being said, that brings me to point number 3, which is over communicate and having a good communication strategy. I want to tell a story. One of the campaigns I was on years ago now, and this is why I'm such a advocate for good communication, is this campaign I worked with raised about $400,000, and they then went into manufacturing mode. At this time, they didn't have anyone manning the inbox, so to speak, or getting back to anyone. So about 4 months of no contact after this company was in China trying to, just get their product to market and stuff. Their last update was something to the effect of, at this time, "Hey, really sorry, we've run out of this part and we don't know when we're gonna get it." And it was just like radio silence. And about a month after this, I got contacted by the press in the UK that wanted a comment from me on how this brand had stolen $400,000 from these backers. And I was like, well, that's not right. That's not what happened. And so over 2 days, I quickly tracked down the founder. I was like, hey, I know you're in the middle of manufacturing your awesome product, but people think you run off with their money. You need to communicate, you need to send an update, and you need to get someone in your inbox. And he just, being head down, focused on manufacturing, had no idea what was going on. He's like, oh no, crap. And he fixed it, and it was all good and successful company today. But things can get out of hand really, really fast, especially on Kickstarter, if people think that you have run away with their money or are lying to them. So my best advice is to over communicate every step of the way. It's better to send an extra email, even if that email says nothing, than having people wonder hey, I gave you $100 3 years ago. Where's my product? And just start that. Nobody needs that. So having good communication, how you can actually apply this is, let's say you are doing a pre-order campaign on your website. First thing you can do is on your checkout page, on your product page, you can say in pre-order, timeline for shipment is March 2023. Then you can reiterate that upon an order, on an order receipt. And then if you have any delays in the process, you can communicate that and what's going on and what you were doing about it. The other thing to mention is that no news is still good news. And number three, the third part of this is, if you want to over communicate, the best thing to do is like bring people behind the scenes into like what part of production is happening. Like if you are in pre-order mode and your product's about to be like finalized, shipped, etc., you can be doing updates through a video, through email that say like, hey, guess what, guys, we just finished our packaging. Here's the box, amazing. Or hey, we just got this photo from our manufacturer. The first 100 units are almost ready to go. There are things you could do to keep your customers in the loop so they feel taken care of, okay? Again, let me rephrase this. You may not think that you need to communicate certain things, but the last thing you want to do is have people feel like you are not going to make good on your promise. So over communicate and keep them involved in the process. This applies to any product launch, Kickstarter, Shopify, you name it, okay? So outside of that, those are my 3 tips. And again, my intention with this video is not to highlight a specific campaign that ran away with the money, but at the end of the day, in order for us as entrepreneurs to be able to keep consumer trust, to be able to keep doing pre-order campaigns, and to be able to use the awesome platform that is Kickstarter for new products, we have to protect our customers. And this isn't just about protecting the ecosystem, it's about protecting your brand too. Because these mistakes of the hundreds of thousands of campaigns that have either been delayed or not fulfilled at all with pre-order campaigns or Kickstarter, it comes down to you are killing your business before it starts because you're missing a couple of key things that only experience will teach you. So outside of that, thank you for watching. If you do like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you have any follow-up questions, as in what is your question of the day after watching this video, be sure to drop it below. I would love to do a follow-up. I'm super passionate about this. I read somewhere in a Tim Ferriss book where sometimes for your creativity, you just have to follow your anger. And this is absolutely one of those things. I'm trying to make the ecosystem online with Kickstarter and startups just a better thing. So if you saw value, please do like this video. All right, outside of that, we will see you in our next one.